This is the Zac Anesbury Show.
Welcome. Today's podcast clip comes from an interview with Professor Scott Koslow from Macquarie University.
Have to do stunning work. Okay? The question, of course, is how do you do stunning work? Okay? You got to have the methods that those journals want.
Yeah.
Okay? And you have to have the theories that those journals want. Now, the problem is if you do things by looking at what's in those journals and you try to identify the gap in the literature and fill that gap, that is absolute, complete, and utter disaster. Do not do this. Okay? Smarter people than you have gone through and tried to do that route and have failed already. Okay? You need to bring something new to the table, and that's the only way you're going to have a hope of getting into these journals. How do you get that new thing into the table? Easy. Go talk to a manager, pick their brains, and they will tell you things that we academics don't know that we're supposed to worry about. Then you have to package the study to illustrate that kind of information. And depending on how well you do that, determines whether or not you get into those key journals.
So, great insight. I hadn't heard of that one before, which is excellent. So I've had a great time speaking to you today, Scott. So thank you for taking your time out and giving us all some excellent advice. The question that I always like to end on is just as a broad sort of concept. What would your advice be for people? I suppose in their life, what sort of life advice would you want to pass on to people to? If there's one sort of saying or anything like that you'd want to transfer over?
There's something similar that came up recently. I got an email from a fellow at a university I used to work for, Waikato specifically, and it appears that he just heard a radio broadcast that he forwarded on to me. And it was an interview with a young entrepreneur in New Zealand who just sold sort of a tech business for over $100 million. Okay, so he's done quite well for himself, and he's a youngster. He's only been out of school for a dozen years, and he was one of my students. And 3 times in that interview, he referred to me. Now, I was thinking, a person said, "Go, Scott, you got to go listen to this. The guy's done quite well, and he's mentioned you multiple times."
Wow.
I was thinking, he would have sort of said something about what I taught him about creativity, for example, and because he's this tech entrepreneur,
thought as well.
It would be that. Actually, it wasn't any of that. It was life advice I gave him. Okay, and I think the life advice that I got through to him. There were 2 things that he took away from it. So we're chatting, and I find out that he was one of the Vietnamese boat people that escaped out of Vietnam. Now, I don't remember exactly what the survival rate of folks who got onto boats in Vietnam and took the difficult crossing overseas, but they were finding boats with dead people all the time. And they estimated that maybe only 10% of the folks who left ever survived.
Wow.
He was one of the folks that survived. They made it to Hong Kong, and then he got refugee status in New Zealand. So I said, look, you're already a winner. You survived a very difficult passage. And all of a sudden it's like, really? I'm just being alive. I'm a winner. And it's like, yes, you are. So that really stuck with him because he really didn't understand what that was. His parents would never talk about it. And I could explain, this is what was happening at the time. And, this is probably why your parents left. They were ethnic Chinese, escaping purges in Vietnam at the time and the like. Okay, all fine and good. That was one piece of advice. It set sort of his perspective. Again, it's not about marketing. The second thing was sort of do what you love, okay? And I think if I remember, I said, do what you love and then figure out how to make money. He actually misinterpreted it and do what you love and then you'll make money, okay? Or something like that. I can't remember his exact wording, but he put his own tweak onto it. But the phrase from me is, you have to figure out what you love. And he said, there were 2 things I love, okay? One was martial arts, okay? And the other is computers, okay? And he looked at his martial arts coach and said, does he make any money? No, he doesn't. So I'm not going to do that. But there's money in computers. I'll go down that route. And gosh, the guy did incredibly well. He did what he loved, And, one of those things, it's like if you do what you love and you don't make any money, so you still got to do what you love, okay? But much of the time when you do what you love, you actually figure out a way to make money out of it. And gosh, this guy made money, heaps, okay? And I think, I'd like to think, made the world a better place because he did what he loves. Yeah. This is not advice about creativity. This is advice about being human. So I guess if you want a closing comment from me, whether you're an academic, whether you're a practitioner, wherever you find yourself, do what you love.
Do what you love. Couldn't think of a better way to finish. Once again, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. I've enjoyed it.
Hey guys, it's Zac Anesbury here with just a couple of quick reminders. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, then make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. There are plenty more interviews to come with some of the world's leading marketing academics and practitioners. You do not want to miss these. In the meantime, if you're looking for another way to connect, then follow me on Twitter at Zac Anesbury. That is ZACANESBURY for my take on the marketing issues of the day.